The bourbon market is shifting. Factors like the economy and the realization that price and quality really have no correlation in bourbon have caused people to start exploring the bottom shelf bombshells. Yep. And there's a lot of contenders for king of the affordable bourbon. And I have one who's risen above all of the others to take my number one spot.
The king of the bottom shelf?
And if you want to find out what it is, then stick around. So before we get started, we do have to thank the patrons because this content is not free to produce.
We literally wouldn't be here.
We wouldn't be here, and the patrons help pay the cost so that we can provide this content for you viewing at home absolutely for free. And everyone's names that are on the screen right now are contributing at the top 3 levels. And if you want to find out more about how to support this channel, stick around till the end.
Yes.
All right, so disclaimers. Everyone's palate's different.
It seems like that should be the disclaimer on every episode, and you should know by now, but we still feel the need to say it.
Yeah.
That because we think something's the king of the bottom shelf, you may stumble across something on the bottom shelf that's better for you, and that is A-okay.
Right. And we also have to acknowledge that there are a lot of people out there that love to trash talk the new popular whiskey so they can tell everybody how superior they are and sophisticated. And so not everyone is going to think that what we're saying is right. And that is totally okay. Although we do advise you not to troll because it's not a good way to live life.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
It's way dumb. And so for various reasons, people may disagree, but this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
So let's lay the situation out.
Okay, so what are our options here?
Our options. So I thought it might be fun to kind of go through the history of what my king of the bottom shelfer was.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I share mine too? It probably may be the same.
It's probably, yeah.
Okay.
It's,
let's hear it.
Okay. So what? It's no secret that the whiskey world lost its mind over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pandemic caused everyone to become the most craziest
passionate
enthusiasts, and they were all of a sudden professionals overnight, and they knew exactly what the best whiskeys were.
Yeah, I call them whiskey teenagers.
Whiskey teens.
Yeah, so you know, if you've ever had a teenager, they get to that age where they think they know everything. You know,
I've got a few of those right now.
Yeah, and they're bravado and confidence, it's like wow, don't lose that, little guy. But at the same time, you're like, I don't like this because you're very wrong, and I don't know how to explain it to you. And there's a lot of that in the whiskey world. People get in, they watch a few videos, and then they're like, I know what I'm going to do with my time. I'm going to go and tell everybody how dumb they are. And those people help build what we call FOMO, fear of missing out. And there was basically a whole mass of people that were just chasing the same popular bottles, right?
And jack those prices way up.
And jack the prices way up. And, you know, there's been a premium on whiskeys. And I have been looking for more affordable options. And I've always kind of had a value pour that I focused on. And so for me, my first value pour was OWA.
Bottom shelf OWA.
Yeah, so
you don't say.
Now historically, OWA was a screw top. It was literally.
We're gonna have to educate the teens on this right
on the bottom shelf. So when I started collecting in 2014-ish, I went to the liquor store. I had picked up one of the bottles. I tasted it, and I was like, "Man, this is really good whiskey." And it was like I think it was $28.
Oh my gosh!
At the time. And
my heart.
And I bought handles of it. I bought like the big bottle, and it was the old bottle now that's like worth a ton of money.
Oh my god!
I don't even know how much of that stuff I drank, and so then that got hard to find. And so I switched to this guy, which admittedly even back then I think it was $39.99. E.H. Taylor small batch. It's a little expensive for a value pour. Most of the value pours are sub 30.
Yeah, you're paying $100 just for the container.
Just for the tube
itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the prized possession. Now that I know one of your favorites that you got from me.
You introduced me to.
Okay, go ahead and tell the people what I introduced you to on the bottom shelf, because that's where I hang out.
And you're gonna have to pop in a picture on this one because
you don't have one.
I drank it all
so much.
I drank it all.
Yeah, you still love it.
Evan Williams bottled and bond.
Yes, the white label, little green accents. You can find it on any bottom shelf. Deliciousness.
Delicious, yeah. And so I think you're on your way over here to film.
Yeah, I was over here to film, and I was like, "Hey, I'm at the store. I was already picking up a bottle. I think a buddy had set aside for
somebody.
And I was like, I'm already picking up some of this bottled and bond from Evan Williams. They got a ton of it. You want me to pick you up one? You're like, what? What's that? I'm like, I'm picking you up.
It's not like I'd never heard of it.
Well, you seem like you'd never tasted it before. And I was like,
I'm sure I had it at some point, but yes, it was a big fail on my part.
Yeah, it was an eye-opening experience.
And so for the longest time, I was drinking more Evan Williams than anything else, and we were using it in all of our cocktails, and we had the Keurig and all that stuff. And I didn't feel bad because it was priced at a good price.
It was like $16 back then. I don't know what it is anymore.
Yeah,
maybe 20 now, but it was like $16 for a $7.50.
And then I went through a time period where I was all about the old Granddad.
The OGD.
OGD.
Oh my goodness, the 114 is
the bottom bond and the 114.
Yeah. I was there.
I would, there were days that I'd go back and forth between the 100 proof and the 114 proof. So I'm gonna let you say the next one because I feel like you and I both, this has a special place in our heart.
The Knob Creek 9 is a man among boys on the shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just so absolutely delicious that it tickles my fancy every time I sip on it.
It's a monster. It's a 9-year-old bourbon, 100 proof, under $30.
Do you remember LeBron James in high school? That's kind of what Knob Creek was.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like it's like who let their dad play on the high school team? he's like 2 foot taller than everyone, dunking on everyone, and breaking backboards, and that's what Knob Creek does for me. And it always will be a top shelfer on a bottom shelf for me.
And so I would say that in public, I drink more Knob Creek 9 than anything else.
It is my go-to at any restaurant.
Hands down.
Yep.
Because I can get it for a good price. It's available everywhere that has whiskey. And it's a strong enough proof that it's got good flavor and it's a solid pour.
Yeah, so if you're at a restaurant, a fine dining experience, you're having a steak, you're having, some asparagus, some Brussels sprouts, you got the bread, you got the whole deal. All right, and you look on the whiskey list, you'll see Blanton's pour for like $60. Then you'll see, something else stupid like that, and then you'll see Knob Creek 9 for like $16 for a 2-ounce pour.
Right.
And that's what I always get. And if I'm drinking an old fashioned, I ask them, do you have the Knob Creek rye? And they say, yes, we do, sir. And then I say, go ahead and make that old fashioned with that.
Hello, and welcome to today's episode of What You Have on Your E-commerce site. I'm your host, Randy Sullivan. Let's get right to the questions. Do you have Glen toppers? Yes. Do you have t-shirts? Yes. Do you have bottle carrying bags? Yes. Do you have storage? Yes. Do you have an aroma kit? Yes. People, we have everything at bourbonrealtalk.com. This is stupid. Why do we even need a game show? And so
good.
If we're doing king of the bottom shelfers,
Yep.
I kind of have 2 kings.
Okay.
One is for drinking on premise.
Okay, yeah.
And then the other is for drinking at home.
All right.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
And my new king of the bottom shelfers. Dun 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 dun. Benchmark Foolproof.
All right. I got to give it to you. It's for the price and the proof. The proof is really what does it for me.
Exactly.
How are you going to find a 125 proof for $20?
I was going to do some, because when I do blinds, I try to set it up so we've got similar prices, similar age, similar proof. That makes it fair.
Right.
Can't do it.
Can't do it because
because there's nothing else.
Let me listen to this. That's what you call a screw top. And it's 125 proof, made with the same exact juice barrels that they would choose a stag out of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, you can't. It's Stag Junior.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. I mean, and so I literally was going to try and set up a blind, and then I was like, well, what would you? I guess you could put it against 1792 full proof, but it's almost double the price.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And admittedly, this is probably pretty young whiskey.
Yeah.
I would guess it's 4 to 6 years old. Yeah. You know, something like that. But it's
so this is 4 to 6, and Stag is what, 8?
Yeah, 8-ish.
So I mean,
8,
4
9.
years, maybe 4 years younger, same juice, same mash bill, same proof. $20 as opposed to trying to find a Stag for $250 on the secondary. I mean, that's just.
I gotta stop saying.
You do you, bro.
Yeah,
It's
solid. Now it doesn't taste the same. The older versions of this whiskey, it starts to translate the fruit flavor into like a dark cherry.
Dark cherry, yeah.
And this one tastes more like grapes.
Okay.
But I like grapes. So
I love grapes.
Grapes are great.
Grapes are great.
Yeah. And so that is the new king of the bottom shelfer.
And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Sadly, Knob Creek takes this close second to me.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, really two kings. Not Knob Creek.
It's like a king and a prince, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, they're
different occasions,
different kingdoms.
Different kingdoms.
They're kings, but they're different kingdoms. So you know,
absolutely.
So that's my value play. And you know, it's so funny because if you invite me over to your house and you've got a big old whiskey wall like this, and you've got the Van Winkles and the Beat Tax and all that stuff, I'm probably just gonna pour a benchmark full proof or a Knob Creek, unless you like make me try something that's special to you, because I'm just as happy drinking either one of those. You don't have to spend a ton of money to drink great whiskey.
Right.
So if you've learned nothing else from this channel, that is one thing you should learn.
The bottom shelf is your friend, folks.
That's right.
Let all those whiskey hunters, those whiskey teens run into the store and say, where's your Blantons? Where's your Weller 12? Would you have any Pappies in the back you could sell me? Mm-hmm. And you just walk over to the bottom shelf and you grab yourself one of these and flip them the bird if that's your choice. You don't have to do that part. And then go home and sip on that all evening and just enjoy your $20 pour.
Enjoy your $22.
You know what time it is, Randy?
It is free giveaway time.
Giveaway time. We do it every video.
We sure do.
What are we going to give away this time?
I thought we'd just give away some sample packs of my favorite bottom shelfers.
I mean, and let them decide. Over the years,
now some of them are no longer bottom shelfers.
Right, but it's like a timeline of over history of the bottom shelf.
Yeah, so you're going to get a Old Weller Antique, E.H. Taylor Small Batch, Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. I'm going to have to buy a bottle. Old Granddad 114. I figured I'd give you the higher proof version. Knob Creek 9 and Benchmark Full Proof. Yeah. There's going to be 5 winners in this bad boy.
Oh, wow.
5.
You should probably share with a friend.
Yeah, you should. It's going to be a good bit of whiskey.
It'd be a fun blind, and let them pick what's their
favorite.
What if they poured an OWA and they're like they picked a benchmark or something else? I mean, imagine the craziness that would ensue. So
it's happened before on this channel.
Do a blind with these. That'd be fun.
Someone's picked this over George T. Stagg and H. Taylor Barrel Proof.
And it was pandemonium.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like he was a little sad about that outcome, but the palate wants what it wants.
Yeah,
it's like a heart, you know.
It is, and if you want to get in on this giveaway, there's just a few things you need to do. One, go ahead and like the video. Okay, that helps boost this, and other people can see this, and it helps the channel, helps the cause. Subscribe as well. Ring the bell for notifications so that you're informed of future episodes, because you want to be informed, because we do this kind of episode, or this kind of giveaway rather, on every episode that we do. So every episode's worth watching just simply for the giveaway. And after that, you need to click on the link below to fill out the web form, so that way your information, your basic information, just to get you the bottles, is included to us, and that way we can run our randomizer and pick a winner and get your bottles absolutely free.
Yeah. Well, if you enjoyed this content and you would like to hear about how you can support this channel and keep it going, we have 3 separate ways. Yeah. And the easiest way would be to join Patreon.
Because it's awesome.
It is awesome. We do have a lot of benefits for the Patreon members. We do, probably the coolest thing we do is the distillery takeovers.
Yeah, and I hear got one in the plans right now. Working, seeing if we can make something happen.
We have 3 in the plans at this point. Yeah, I think we almost have all of next year scheduled. So
now's the time to click the link below, find out what package is going to work for you. There's tons of options depending on your budget, and just want you to know that you're not just paying us to not work for a living,
right?
And sitting here and record videos for you. That's not what this is for. We pay our bills in other ways,
right?
But the Patreon just helps keep the really the group going with virtual bottle shares, monthly meetups, and on the merch discounts that you get on the Bourbon Real Talk website. There's distillery takeovers like Randy mentioned, where we're kind of kings for a day. Imagine kind of being rich and being able to just kind of come into a distillery and have the place to yourself. That's what you get to do with the Bourbon Real Talk community and the Patreon group.
It's one of the funnest things I get to do.
Yeah. You kind of just run around, try barrels. Sometimes you even pick a bottle or pick a barrel, and it's a day full of community, which is what this thing's all about.
Yeah, for sure. The second way you could support us is by going to bourbonrealtalk.com and checking out our merch. Everything there was made for whiskey lovers.
By whiskey lovers.
By whiskey lovers. So we've got great merchandise. We've got bottle carrying bags. We've got a sensory kit for you to train your palate. We've got custom glasses that are designed for high proof spirits that come from the United States.
Yep.
So check that out. And last but not least, the way that I pay my bills, I'm a residential real estate agent, and I do operate in the Dallas and Houston metro areas. So if you're looking for a real estate agent in either one of those areas, please reach out to me. I'd love to interview for the job, and if we do close a deal, I will warn you, I do give out epic bottles as closing gifts.
Absolutely. Great bottles. Not just the bottom shelfers that you saw today. A little bit better.
I give you a budget, so you could be like, I want 100 benchmark full proofs, and I'd make it happen.
Yeah, or you can get a Pappy instead. It's your choice.
Yeah. Literally, there was one guy, he could have gotten 200 benchmark full proofs. That's how big his budget was.
And
he bought and sold some big houses, though.
I'll take 2 pallets worth of benchmark foolproof, please.
Yeah. So if this is your first time tuning into the channel, we'd love to thank you for the view, but also let you know a little bit about why we do what we do.
Yeah.
We are all about bringing people together around whiskey. And that became a personal mission of mine when I lost my brother to suicide in 2014. And I noticed how he had lost a lot of the social connections that keep us bonded in this world. And right after that, I started noticing how whiskey was creating connections between people, even sometimes people who wouldn't have normally decided to be friends because they had different ideological views or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I thought, man, if whiskey is that powerful, maybe I can get you connected to whiskey, and whiskey can do the rest of the job and get you connected to others. And so when you do talk about connection, though, you do have to have a forum for people to meet each other. And we looked into some of the forums out there, and there are a lot of great ones, but there is some negativity out there.
Yeah.
What we call trolls that are showing hate to strangers online. So Wes convinced me we needed to create our own forum, which we did. It's called Bourbon Real Talk Community. It's Facebook-based. It's free. We got about 30,000 members as of the time of this filming, and there's a lot of great things going on.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah. The relationships that are getting formed, lots of local activities going on, but also we come together as a group. We do a lot of philanthropy work and that type of thing, so that's great. But those trolls taught us a second lesson, and that is that if they can hate a stranger online, there's nothing that keeps us from loving a stranger online. Mm-hmm. And that's why we end every episode the same way, and that's this. If you woke up this morning and you're unsure whether or not anyone loved you, just know that we love you. We'll see you next time on Bourbon Real Talk. Cheers.
Cheers.
Music, because I picked the old music by
you
myself.
You gotta get into the new groove.
I know. The new is better. I'm not saying the new's not better.
Okay. Step one, you have cool music.
Yeah, and every other bourbon podcast is like, and I don't listen to country music. I listen to rap music.
It's a true story.
And so I went out looking for something that had a banging beat. And
so if you're watching J. Cole, which I'm sure you are, you should reach out. Maybe we could work
we could collab or something.
Let's collaborate.
You are the GOAT. You're my favorite rapper of all time. So if you want to do something,
not just of the bottom shelf, of all the shelves.
I've got some, whiskey or something.
We could trade something.
We could trade some whiskey.
We can figure it out.
I don't know.
Let your people get.
Let your people, and this is my people. So just have your people call this people.
Just text me,
and then we'll do a whole thing.